Hey everyone, this is tutorial number 2, and we're going to work on making some changes to how the player worked. If you can see here, I've changed a few things. We now have renamed this to player controller. I have created a new object called player. What we're going to do in this now is we're going to make this the universal controller for this player. There are two ways you can do this. You can go into the behavior. You can go into here where we have signed and changed things, and you could go in and import the player object and make that change in here. Or what we're going to do is we're going to make this more universal. So if you go up to your application here, and we go down to events, you're going to see this, qualifiers. Now, if you click on that, this is where you can edit your group qualifiers. You can go in here and change the picture however you want. You can rename them however you want. You can leave them default however you want. Or you can even go down here to the generics. There's 10 of them, and use these as custom qualifiers while leaving everything else alone. We're going to use the player, so we're going to cancel out of here. We're going to go into this one. There are no behaviors. There are no events for the frame. And as of right now, if I put this object in the middle, it controls as if it is the player. But this is actually now the player controller. What we're going to do is in here under the player, we're going to go to our events tab under properties, and we're going to edit a qualifier, and we're going to add one, and we're going to add the player qualifier. So anything assigned with this qualifier going forward is going to be controlled by this player controller. We're going to go edit. We're going to go into behaviors under controls, and we're going to modify these things right here. Now, we could go under here. We can rename this as group, because that's what they are. They're groups. We're going to put the name of the group, which is player. But see how it doesn't work yet? So what we have to do now is we have to go in here and import. We're going to import the X, delete this one, and now it works because now the system knows that we are importing this object into this behavior. We're going to press OK. Now, if I run this currently, if you see, it goes way over here. It keeps the Y, but does not keep the X. What is happening here is that we cannot, because this is an entire group, we cannot inject the X position of the entire group into here. So now we have to replace this. And what we need to do is we need to go in here and say, position X is equal to our position value X under the player controller, like that. We're going to replace this one as well. So the group player position Y is equal to the controller's value of Y position, just like that. Now, what the cool thing is we can actually copy these and delete this out. Copy the Y, put into the Y group, leave that one out. And what's going to happen is this is the only change that has to be made now because we've already established the controls. But if you look, this does not have the player controller value. This does. And I'm going to go in here, and we're actually going to have to assign the X and Y position, which in here, let's go under this and create a new behavior. We're going to name this initialize or init. And we're going to edit this one, and then we're going to say at the start of the frame, we're going to take the, let's see, we're going to set the X position to the width divided by 2, so half the frame. we're actually going to copy this. We're going to edit this one, switch this to Y, and we're going to rename this to height. Or you can come down here and click on frame height. And we're going to press OK. Now, what you've just done is at the start of the frame, we're going to set the X and the Y position. And we're going to go ahead, and what's going to happen is when I run this, it is now this moving and not the yellow controller. And it still functions exactly the same as it did before. Right here. Because what it's doing is that this player is part of the player group, or the player qualifier. This is not part of the player qualifier. Another thing we can do under controls is we can actually take this, remove that one, and then Control X will copy it. We're going to go under the init behavior, and we're actually going to bring that into here. And we're going to set that and then set this. We're going to go back to our frame, and it does the exact same thing, only now we have this here. Now the cool thing is this has now become universal. This is a universal player controller. I can create a brand new application just like this. Go in here, insert an object, any object I want. Go under qualifiers. Change this to a player qualifier. No name, nothing. Come in here. Grab this player controller, drag it into this application. Make sure that all my behaviors are working exactly as they're supposed to. So we go through and double check. And as you can tell, this is not working because the global value A has not been defined. So we go under application. We go under values, create a new value, name this delta. Okay. And then what we have to do is under the group variables, we have to come in here and we have to set that value again. So we're going to always change the global value, or we're going to set the global value to 1.0. Make sure you put 0.0 because that turns it into a float. We're going to do it by the number of frames per second, frame rate. That's set that. We go back into this, hit play again, and it functions completely the same. Now, there is now a limiting factor here. Because I have to go in here and define this every time I move this object into another application, it screws this entire thing up. For global purposes, that's fine. Works perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. It's kind of annoying to a certain extent, but another thing you can do is create another active object. We'll just resize it real quick. Delete this. Go in here. Name this DT. Delta timing. Drop this in. Go under here and create a new value called delta, which it says it's because it's already a global. So now we have to go in here. Here. We got to delete this one. Okay. Now we can go back in here and name this delta now because it's no longer a global value. Then what we do is we have this. We go under behaviors. And what we're going to do now is we're going to always set the value of delta to 1.0 divided by frame rate. Okay. That's done there. So we have that. So there's delta with the frame rate now already assigned. Problem is if we go in here hit play on this one. That one's going to work because this still exists because it's assigning the global variable. Delete that one out. We're going to go back in here, hit play again. Nothing works. Then we're going to go under this controller, under controls. We're going to find this one here. We're going to modify this. We're going to call it Delta. And I think I didn't rename that yet. We did not. So it's not working because it's not imported. So we're going to grab that. That should work now because it's imported. We're going to go over here. Do the exact same thing. Values Delta. Okay, so that's done. Go back here. Let's just for Delta timer. Okay. Now, this isn't going to carry over. See? Not carrying over. We're going to delete this one. We're going to bring this one over. Under controls, it's asking for Delta timer. So if I go here and hit play, nothing works. But if I also grab my Delta timer, it's there. It now works. Super universal. All we're doing is assigning a qualifier as a player. This controls your player. This controls your timer. You can go into player, under your values, change your speed to 2 pixels per frame. Now it moves faster. It's 100% universal now. And to prove that again, let's just do one more new application. We're going to insert just an active object. We're going to go under qualifiers, edit. We're going to add player. That's done. We're going to drag in the Delta timer. We're going to drag in the player controller. Done. Assign qualifiers player and hit play, and it's done. Universal setup. This way, every application, every frame that you work with, all has the exact same things over and over again. So that's all I wanted to do for this video. I hope you guys found this educational and useful. We now have an initializer, which takes the frame's width and height, pushes it into the position X and position Y. And then this one at the start of the frame takes the group, puts the X position, Y position into the group. Completely universal. The only subject to this problem that you have is that if you have more than one active object, like this, and you just happen to do this, and you go under qualifiers and add this player object and hit play. Because this object is above this object, if I go in here and I say, where's order? Bring to front. That is now the front object. If I bring this object to front, it's now this one. Because they're both part of the same group, they're both you can control exactly the same in the exact same position. If you want to change this, you have to modify it directly from itself through another behavior. You would have to go in here and take its current X position and add like 16 to it or something. So let's see, we're going to go always X position. We're going to take its current X position. We're going to add 16 to it. And say, now it's fine. Only limitation, it's kind of just because they're both in the same group. This is good for, say, weapons and things like that, or additional objects. You can keep the position relative to the player controller, and the only thing you're doing is editing the individual behavior. So you can give like this individual animation controls, or make this into, let's say, let's do this. So that's like a round ball or force field, and it's going to move along with the object because you've set its relative position individually with its own behavior to the player controller. That's it. So, got questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me. This is a super powerful way of running things because you can create an entire behavioral system under one object. Use this object to do your controls, do your startup, all kinds of things. You can go in here and pretty much use this as the base of a class, and everything derives from this class here. Your delta timer is now individual. It's no longer global though, unfortunately, through here, but you could, if you wanted to, make it global somehow by going in here and saying that this is now a global object. So that's everything. Have a good one.